Good evening. This lesson won't be easy, not the content and maybe not even the message, but I want you to bear with me. Maybe it's a new way of looking at things. We're going to try and see the very difficult story of Yaakov and Esau and try to shed some light on what was the story there. We know that we've been reading the past few parashot of the book of Bereshit. We've been reading about Avraham Avinu. And then we hardly got to know Yitzchak. And already in this week's parsha, Parashat Toldot, we are moving on to Yaakov. Not only Yaakov and his twin brother, Esau. We know that it's rare. It's not doesn't happen often that twins are born. And here the twins are very different. And so we are told in the beginning of the parasha that we have Avraham and then Yitzchak, and Yitzchak is marrying Rivka. For about 20 years, they don't have children, and then finally Rivka falls pregnant. When she falls pregnant, she wonders, what is this? Whenever I walk next to a place of idol worshiping, this baby inside, his fetus get excited and he wants to come out. And whenever I walk next to Bet Knesset or a place of learning something positive, again, the baby get excited. What is he? Has he got a split, what do you call it, image? What is it? And then God speaks to her and tell her, you have twins. She asked God, and God told her, you know, this what you have inside is actually two, not only two kids, but also two nations will come out of you, and they will struggle, they will fight. But then she's told something very important. Verav ya'avod tza'ir. Rav means the older one will be a servant of, or will be working for the younger one. That's what she was told. Did she tell this to her husband? We don't know. But in any case, it's not the same hearing it from God and hearing it from another person that heard it from God. It's not the same. In any case, we hear in detail. We're going to see a few stories about their life of Yaakov and Esau, and how they struggle and how they always fight. And the question is, what do we need to hear about all this? Not only that, about Avraham and Yitzchak, you know, they dig wells and then someone covers them and then they dig them again and they fight over them. Just one example of many stories in the Torah that you find them useless. Who cares? The Ramban, based on the Midrash, teaches us something very important. Basic rule for the whole Torah. Ma'aseh avot siman labanim. Look at what happened to the fathers, and you will learn for your life. We, the children of, we, many generations later, should look at what was happening there to be able to understand how to lead our lives correctly. That's what we are taught. Kol ma she'era la'avot siman labanim. Whatever happened to them will also happen to us. So we need to look carefully at what the story is, and you will see that that struggle between Yaakov and Esau will carry on until today. And it's not a private or personal thing between Yaakov and Esau, but it's a struggle for future generations between nations. Two stories we are told about Yaakov and Esau in the beginning. The first one, Yaakov, we are told, is cooking something. Esau comes back from the field very hungry, and he smells this excellent food, and he says to Yaakov, give me from this food at all costs. But he doesn't just say, give me from this food. He said it very vulgarly. He said, pour it, the whole pot into my mouth. Pour it all into me, and I want to eat it all. Yaakov says to him, I'm sorry. If you want to taste from it, you have to sell me the rights of the firstborn. You were born just a few minutes before me, and it's been my dream to be the firstborn. Esau says, who needs it? Take it. In any case, I'm going to die soon. I'm on high risk going hunting. So who cares about this? Let me eat now. Who cares? I want to eat right now, and that's it. It's good enough for me. So both are happy. Looks like Yaakov is happy for getting the rights of the firstborn, and Esau is happy that he's only interested in the food. Everybody's happy. Second story, a chapter later, Yitzchak, their father, feels that he is reaching the end of his life. He's old, he is blind, and he calls on to his firstborn Esau, and he asks him, go out to the field, please catch something nice, make a nice meat for me, because I want to give you a blessing. So Esau takes his bow and arrow, whatever, and he goes out. Rivka, Yitzchak's wife, overhears what Yitzchak was telling her son, Esau, and she calls her other son, their other son, Yaakov, and she tells him, look, you should go to the backyard, bring me a goat, not a goat, a kid of the sheep, and I'm going to make nice meat for your father. Yaakov says, no, but he's going to recognize me. So Rivka tells him, don't worry. Listen carefully, it's going to come up later. Alai kilalatcha beni. Whatever you think you're going to be cursed, I will take it. No one's going to harm you. Don't worry. You are not cheating your father. I am sending you. Now, I'm going to give you today two explanations. There are many explanations to this story, because all the rabbis were contemplating, how could that be that Yaakov cheated his father? How could that be that Yaakov goes and he steals the blessings that he doesn't deserve? Yaakov goes out to the whatever thing there to get a sheep, and his mother makes nice meat, and he tells her, but he's going to recognize me. So she says to him, go to your brother's closet, and you find a nice hunting garment there, and you wear that cloth, and so your father won't recognize you. How could that be? What is it, a joke? Just because of the clothing, you won't recognize him? So I was told when I was young that Esau, his other name is Seir. Seir means hairy. Esau is so hairy that when Yaakov puts this wool of the sheep on his hands, then he feels like as if he's like Esau. I bought that story when I was young. I don't buy it anymore today, because no person in the world, as hairy as he may be, doesn't feel like wool. There's no such thing. But what is the story here? I'll tell you in a second. Yaakov wears that garment and he walks with the food to his father, Yitzchak. Straight away, his father, here there is something wrong. Maybe it's because of the steps. Maybe because a blind person, his other senses get stronger. And so he feels, that's not Esau. I know the footsteps of Esau. So he's asking, who is that who came here? Yaakov answers him, I'm going to give you one way of looking at it. It's going to be a new way for you, maybe, unless you heard it from me. But it's something that is not the pshat. It's not the easy way of understanding, but it goes nicely with the verses. Yaakov answers, Anochi, Esav bechorecha. You asking who came? It's me, I came. Esav is your firstborn. Have you noticed where I put the comma? I came, Esav is your firstborn. I am not Esau, I'm not Esav. I came. Now, Yitzchak doesn't have a doubt anymore. Because if he was contemplating by the footsteps, now that he hears the voice, no one can fool him. The voice is definitely not Esau. It's definitely Yaakov. So according to this interpretation, from that moment, Yitzchak knows it is Yaakov standing in front of him. And he's shocked because there have been an argument all along between Rivka and Yitzchak. Who will be the son to take over and to lead and to make the Jewish people? Rivka said to him, I'm sorry, my dear husband, I love my sons, but there will only be one that will carry on because I know what Esau is up to. Esau is a hunter. He doesn't only hunt animals. When he goes hunting, he doesn't care if he shoots a person as well. He's a bad person. It couldn't be that a bad person will start the Jewish nation. Yitzchak tells her, but it doesn't make sense because our dear son Yaakov is some kind of a nerd, sits in yeshiva or in university the whole day. What does he know about making a living or war or doing whatever needs to be done to sustain a state? I think, says Yitzchak to Rivka, both of them together will build the Jewish people. And that argument stayed for years. And so when Yitzchak calls Esau, his intention is for both of them to build the Jewish nation, to give all the physical blessings that he received from his father Abraham, to give them to Esau, and all the spiritual blessing to give later on to Yaakov. That's what Yitzchak wants. But Rivka is out to change his, not to change his way of doing things, but to change his way of thinking. Because by sending Yaakov there, she proves, or Yaakov actually proves about himself, that he is not such a nerd that Yitzchak thought. And Yitzchak all of a sudden realizes, wait, who came here? Oh, it's you. I know it's you by the voice. I thought by the footsteps. I wasn't sure, but now by the voice, I can tell it's Yaakov. Wait, what is this smell? Is it the smell of the field? Let me feel you. Oh, the feel of the hand. That's the camouflage uniform that you're wearing. Whoa, are you also out to go out the field? I never knew. I never knew that you're also capable of wearing such uniform. That's amazing. Maybe she was right, my wife. Maybe Rivka was right. Maybe you're not such a nerd and maybe you are capable of starting a nation by yourself. And she's right, Esau is not a good person. Let me taste of what you made. And so Yitzchak eats from that food and he says, whoa, that's amazing. Such good food. I decided I'm going to give you all the blessing. Yaakov did not cheat his father. Yaakov did not steal the blessings from his father. It was his father, Yitzchak, knowingly giving the blessing to Yaakov. And so he does. He gives the blessing that he was going to give Yaakov, the spiritual blessings, and he gave him also the blessings that he was going to give Esau. Now, if that was not intentionally, if that was by mistake, then surely when Esau comes along, Yitzchak should say, oh, it was a mistake. I'm canceling what I gave Yaakov because he doesn't deserve it, and I'm giving it to you. But that's not what Yitzchak is saying. When Esau comes along, right? Yitzchak eats, Yaakov leaves, Esau comes, here, Daddy, I brought you what you asked for. Here is your favorite meat. Yitzchak tells him, but I'm full. I'm not hungry anymore. I don't want to eat this because I had enough. What do you mean you had enough? You asked me to go make you meat. No, but your brother came. Listen to what Yitzchak is saying. Yitzchak knows what happened. Your brother came and took the blessings. He gave me food already and I gave him the blessing. Esau gets very upset. What is this? Kara shmo Yaakov. Listen to this. It's Esau is saying that his name is Yaakov, my brother, because Hu ikev oti. He postponed me. He stopped me twice already. First time he took my rights of the firstborn, and now he took my blessings. What is this? I'm going to kill this. He doesn't say it now. He's going to say it later, that as soon as my father dies, I'm going to kill this Yaakov. But before that, he says to his father, Esau, surely you have more than one blessing. Give me something as well. Said Esau to Yitzchak. Yitzchak answered him, I'm sorry, I have nothing left for you. There's nothing left for you. I gave everything to your brother, to Yaakov. So Esau insists, give me something. He said, being more and more angry. And I don't know if it's because Yitzchak was starting to worry or to be scared, or he wanted, or he really got this terrible, I wouldn't say blessing. It's really a curse for us and maybe for Esau as well. And the blessing that Yitzchak gives to Esau is that you, Esau, and Yaakov, you're like a scale. When he's up, you're down. When you up, he's down. You're never going to be equal. You're never going to be friends. There will always be a fight between the two of you. At times, he will be in charge. Other times, you will be in charge. But there will always be a fight. Listen carefully. That blessing / curse we suffer from then and until today. All throughout history, people are looking for the reasons of anti-Semitism. There is no reasons for anti-Semitism. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai taught us already 2,000 years ago. Halacha, that's how he says, his words. Halacha, this is the law. This is final. Esau soneh leYaakov. Esau hates Yaakov. Bottom line, and that's how it's going to stay. I want to try and go a little bit deeper into the story and see, and let's see if we can, because it's very difficult in English. I'm going to try and because when we try and learn the Zohar, the Kabbalah, the Ari, all those secret Torah, it's very much playing on words and letters and roots and half a sentence here and half a word there, and it's very, very important. So we're going to try, although it's in English, and let's try and see what is the story. First, what are those two words? When we come and explain the words Esau and Yaakov, what do they mean? Esau is from the word asui. Asui means made up. He is complete. He looks like, as he was born, filled with hair already, he looked a lot older. Not like a baby who was born bald, whatever, no hair. Esau was born already as if he's much older. He is born ready. He is born, I would almost say, cooked. He is already full size. Yaakov, the word Yaakov, it's got three meanings. We have the meaning of what his father called him. We have the meaning of what his brother called him. And we have the meaning of what God called him. His father called him Yaakov because they saw, as he came out, that he was holding the heels. Heel is Akev. Akev, Yaakov. His brother, we already heard, he calls him Yaakov because Yaakov delayed him. Vayakveni ze pa'amayim. He made me being late. That's le'akev. You want to get something, but you're late, you've been delayed, and that's Yaakov. But the most interesting explanation is God's explanation. God calls him Yaakov. Rashi tells us this. You know, Rashi, the big commentator of 900 years ago, he mentioned that it was God that gave him the name as one of the explanations. Why? Listen to this beautiful question. the Zohar asked so many years ago. The Zohar asked a question, how could it be that the most important story of the forefathers, the story of the Akedah, involved only two of the three forefathers, meaning Abraham takes Yitzchak, they both participate in the story of the binding of Isaac, they both participate in this huge and important event in the Jewish people. What happened to the third? Where is Yaakov in that story? Admit that you never thought of that question. I never did until I read it in the Zohar. What do you mean? Yaakov is not there, he's not born yet. What do you mean? The Zohar is a lot deeper than that. The Zohar says he looks at the words, and he looks in a story of the Akedah, before Abraham reaches the place which is Mount Moriah, before Abraham reaches the place where he's going to bind Isaac, it says there, Vayar et hamakom merachok. He sees the place from afar, from far away, the place, hamakom. The Zohar take that word, and he noticed that hamakom is a word that we find when we talk about Yaakov. Yaakov, when he gets to that place many years later, Vaikach me'avnei hamakom. He gathered the stones, the rocks of that place, that same place. He gathered the rocks and he sleeps there and he dreams of the ladder, whatever, we know the story. So hamakom here, hamakom there, when Abraham looks from afar and he sees the place, he's actually seeing the future, what's going to come out of him, and that's Yaakov. And maybe that's where Abraham and Yitzchak get their strength to go to the Akedah, because they see the future is with them. Let's go deeper. I read once a beautiful explanation of my rabbi from the yeshiva, Rav Yaakov Medan. He's the Rosh Yeshiva in Alon Shvut, in Yeshivat Har Etzion, and he wrote something beautiful. He noticed that there is only one time that God made an oath. He promised something to the forefathers. Only one promise he made to the forefathers. And it's the same promise to all of them. It's mentioned a few times in the Torah. It says there, straight after the Akedah, it says to Abraham, listen, you passed the test, and therefore you'll be multiplied, you'll be, it's going to be a big nation, and you're going to conquer the Holy Land. Why? Ekev asher shama'ata bekoli. I don't know if you can see, I underlined the word Ekev. Ekev means because of. Do you see the word Yaakov in the word Ekev? Because of, you heard my voice, you listened to me, I will give you lots of good things. That same promise is being repeated to Yitzchak. Again, you'll multiply, you'll be like the stars, and you're going to have conquering lots of land, especially the Holy Land. Ekev asher shama Avraham bekoli. Again, the word Ekev. At the end of the Torah, the last book of the Torah, in the beginning of the book of Dvarim, Deuteronomy, Moshe Rabbeinu says the same thing. Vehaya Ekev tishme'un. Again, we find the word, the root of Yaakov is right there. So 3 times that same oath, that same promise is mentioned, and it's the only promise, and it's mentioned the same thing, and they all using the word Ekev. Maybe, says Rav Medan, maybe that's how we can hint to God's, to Yaakov's presence in the Akedah. Yaakov is there with his forefathers. God is the one to call him Yaakov, and it wasn't done because of this, whatever, I don't want to say not important, but this incident of Yaakov holding the heel of his brother Esau. That's not what's important. It's much deeper than that. It's because Yaakov was following the Akev. He was walking the footsteps of his forefathers. He was there at the Akedah. He was following the messages of the Akedah. And so he is with his forefathers. I don't know if you're still with me. I want to go a little bit deeper. You with me? Can we go deeper? Okay. So it's interesting that the Zohar takes it one step further. I hope it won't blow your mind, but it's something that the Zohar does often. That's why people get crazy when they learn Kabbalah, because it's throwing you to all directions, and often the Zohar goes back to the first sin, to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and here as well. The Zohar is teaching us that Yaakov is, how do you say Gilgul in English? Yaakov is the Gilgul Neshamot. Yaakov is the same, no, anyone can help me? What is Gilgul Neshamot? Yaakov is the split image or whatever, the soul of Adam. From Adam and Eve, the first man on earth, it's the same sort of part of a soul that will be rolling into Yaakov. So Yaakov is the one that needs to fix Adam's mistakes. Esau, his brother, he is the serpent, the snake that is mentioned there. Esau is a serpent, Yaakov is Adam. Now, Esau is the pills. Esau is born first. He's making the way for the good thing to come. When you want to eat a fruit, you peel it, and what's inside is what's important. So Esau is the cover, and Yaakov is what's inside. That's how the Kabbalah looks at it. That's what the Ari Kadosh is telling us, that the klipa, the peel, is Esau. That's the snake. That's a serpent. I hope you're still with me. It's not easy. Yaakov needs to fix what was done by Adam and Eve. And how does he do that? There's a beautiful, very famous, not in Kabbalah, that's famous, Rashi says it, that there was a very special garment. There was a clothing that God himself made for Adam and Eve after the sin. Do you remember that? Vaya'as lahem kotnot or vayalbishem. It says there in the Torah that God gave Adam and Eve clothing. When they ate from the tree of knowledge, good and bad, they realized they're naked, and first they tried to make themselves some fig tree leaves, and then it was God who made them kutonet meor, a garment made of skin. What is this? It says there, again in the commentaries, that on that clothing there was drawing of all the animals in the world. That clothing, that garment, was passed down to Cain, and from Cain it went down all the way to Nimrod. Don't know if you remember Nimrod, who is the king that was trying to kill Abraham. That's the Kabbalah. That's the Zohar. It's jumping from here to there. I hope you're following. And from Nimrod, it was Esau who killed Nimrod and took that clothing. Now, what's the connection between Nimrod and Esau? On both of their description, it says Sayad or Gibor Tzayid, Ish Tzayid. He's a hunter. Nimrod is a hunter. Esau is a hunter. And so that special clothing made by God moved to the other side. From Adam, it rolled down to the snake, who is Esau. And now someone needs to fix the situation. And that's Yaakov. Now, who is going to push for it to be fixed? His mother, Rivka. And she says, I will take it on myself. Because Rivka is coming to fix Chava. Chava is Eve. She's coming to fix Chava's mistake. And she's saying, don't worry, I will take the curse. Don't worry, I know that eventually, I heard it when I was pregnant already, that eventually the young one, meaning you, Yaakov, should be in charge. You will be in charge of your older brother. We are going to fix the situation all the way from Garden of Eden, all the way the mistake that was done there, and it's going to be fixed by us. Don't worry, we will fix it. And so that's how it went up and down, back and forth, and we can carry on playing with the words because it's beautiful. We said that in a prophecy, God always said, Ekev asher shama'ata bekoli. Ekev, because of. Now, what is the name of the third forefather? Yaakov. There was a yud added to the Ekev. That yud will move to another word, another name of Yaakov, which will be Yisrael. Israel, if you change the letters, is Li Rosh. Ekev, Akev is the heel. The Rosh is the head. Yaakov, from being the heel, from being the bottom, from being there on the floor, he changing his whole being, and he's going to be the head. For that, he needs to wear this special garment and to receive all the blessings. And that's what he does. And only once he received all those blessings, only then he could become the head. So Rivka needs to push for it to happen. She needs to convince her husband, who doesn't listen in the beginning, he doesn't believe her, until Yaakov comes and he convinces with a story, and they take it, they steal it or they don't steal it, but the blessings are moved to Yaakov, and Yaakov is Israel. Israel is the Rosh, Li Rosh, my head. That's what it means, and that's a beautiful thing that was moved from there to there. Now, unfortunately, as we said, it didn't end there. We know that Esau is Edom. Edom is the Romans. And from the Romans, 1700 years ago, that's when Christianity came. Christianity came from the Romans. They tried to convince the Jews, it didn't work. So the Romans were the ones who bought into this idea of Christianity. And the Christian idea is crazy. I don't know how much Christianity you know, but in Christian philosophy, it says, listen carefully, that's not us. That's what Christians says. Christians say that we, the Jews, are Esau, we are the Esau, and they, the young ones, the Christianity, are Yaakov, and therefore they must take over from us. You're realizing we say exactly the opposite. We say that Esau is Edom, Edom is the Christians, and we are the ones that Yaakov, that whatever, the young ones. They say, it's all based on one verse that Rivka received that prophecy, V'rav yavod tza'ir, V'rav yavod tza'ir. The older one will be lesser of importance, and he will be working for the younger one. So who is old, who is young? Now, this is not just a theological something or some theory. The Christians made it into practice. I don't know how much you know about history, but from the Romans' time and throughout Middle Ages, the Romans' rule stayed. The Jews were not allowed to hold any position of power, definitely not power over Christians, because the Christians are supposed to be in power. And so a Jew was not allowed to own a Christian slave or to have people working for them, because it doesn't go with a story. And the Christian thing, they are Yaakov and we are the Esau. Anyway, they changed the whole thing. We know that the biggest problems in the world, in the Jewish world, came from Esau. Esau is not just the Christians. Before that, Esau had a son called Eliphaz. And from Eliphaz, who, with concubine Pilegesh, it says, Timnah, her name was, Amalek was born. The Amalekites are the pure evil in Jewish eyes. They are the ones that did so many wrong things. I think I have a whole lesson just about the Amalekites. Look in my lessons, you're going to find it there. But the Amalekites, the Torah hates them so much that we get a very, almost uncomfortable command to wipe them out, to kill all the Amalekites. That's what the Torah says. That's how evil they are, that we have to wipe them out from the face of the earth. That's what the Torah says. That's the Amalekites. That's Esau. Because we and Esau, the nations and the Jewish people, are always either you up or I'm up. And if I won't be up, then it will be you, and then I'm going to be dead. So I better do everything I can to be up there. Now, the story in the Torah will end between Yaakov and Esau in a very strange way. The story in the Torah will end two portions from now, two parashot from now, and that is in Parashat Vayishlach, where after not seeing each other for 20 years, Yaakov and Esau would meet. And when Yaakov and Esau meet, we're not sure what's going to happen. Yaakov is very scared. So he prepared for this meeting in many ways. And then when he meets Esau, you don't know what's going to be. And then Esau jumps on him and kisses him and hug him. And Yaakov doesn't know what to do. And the rabbis are also puzzled. What is this kiss? And in the Torah, if you open the Torah, go to the Torah, and you find that there are dots on top of the word Vayishakeu. He kisses him. There are dots there written in the Torah, in every Sefer Torah. And the rabbis explain that he was actually trying to stab him, maybe, or he was kissing him maybe to make him numb so he can do whatever. It's very difficult to see those kisses and take them at face value. It was very difficult for Yaakov and for the rabbis, we'll explain it later, as if those kisses are so beautiful and everything is all right. Because we know that it's a fact. Esav soneh leYaakov. Halacha. That's the law. You cannot fight it. Don't try to look for reasoning for anti-Semitism. Don't try to look for ways of pleasing those people. It will not work. We know that anti-Semitism is sometimes very much huge tsunami wave, like the Holocaust, and sometimes it's smaller waves, but it's always there. Under the surface or above the surface, it's always there. We can only hope that the verses of the prophets will come right, that all the nations will recognize God, will recognize the place of God in Jerusalem, and they will all come to see that that's the place that God chose, and his people are the Jewish people. And please God, it will happen in our days. That's all for tonight. Thank you all. I hope I didn't scare you too much and you managed to bear with me. Wasn't easy, but that's all.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Toda rabba.
Good night.
Toda rabba. Good night.